What is up everyone, Movie Worm back again with another end of month vlog. This is just me talking about all the movies I watched in the month of September 2021. I usually do TV shows as well, but it's just movies this month. Now, I did put a community post up the other day saying that this might be a little bit late and my No Time to Die review might be a little bit late, which went up last night, even though I seen it last Thursday, which is what, the 30th of September. Now, there is a reason for that. So I usually like to get this video out on the 1st, 2nd or 3rd at latest, but yeah, this is now the 6th, so there is a reason. My fiance, soon to be wife, got taken to hospital last Friday because she's been pregnant for 9 months now, and they started her off to give birth. And he finally came on the 3rd of October in the early hours of the morning. My little son Roman was born, so hence why these videos are a little bit late, but you know, I think I've got a pretty good reason for that. And if you must know, I am absolutely over the moon. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. She's in the hospital right now because she had to have a cesarean section in the end, and I'm only allowed to go for certain times of the day, but there is hope that she's coming home very soon. So just to get that out the way, yeah, I am now a father, so it is the best feeling in the world. It really is. So yeah, I can't wait for him to come home, and you know, so I can be with him all the time. So that out the way. You've come here to see me talk about movies, so let's just get into it with the first film that I watched this month. Now, this was a cinema release. It's been out for a few weeks by the time I went to see this, but it wasn't really on my radar, and that is The Courier. Now, it stars Benedict Cumberbatch, and this is all about him teaming up with this Russian spy, and they both want to stop the missile crisis in 1960, really, because the world is on the brink of war and stuff. Now, I am going to be planning to do a review roundup video. I done an update last month saying that some of my reviews might be in one video together, and this is going to be in it. I'm just waiting to watch one more 2021 movie to put like 4 movies in the one video, and they are going to be little shorter reviews, but I will go into as much detail as possible I can into them short reviews. But The Courier is going to be in there, along with a few other films on this list that I've watched this month, but I will let you know when I get to them. So I don't want to go into it too much, but it is a great true story. I recommend it. I mean, it was a bit slow in parts, but it was decent enough. So it was a decent movie. I liked it. Next up, we watched Run, Hide, Fight. Now, Luke from Movie Massacre, whose link I'll leave down below actually, he put this on the YouTube Movie Gang Facebook group that he'd watched it, and it was about a bunch of school shooters who go into this school and start shooting the place up basically. And I'd heard about this movie from last year, that it was coming, and it just reminded me that I needed to watch it. And this was an okay movie. I mean, I give it 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, I think. It's more of a Die Hard situation type deal. I mean, these shooters come in and take over the cafeteria and keep everyone hostage in there. It's not like they're running around the school shooting people and stuff. It's more of a hostage thing, and they film it on their phones. But the lead actress wasn't really doing it for me. There is some bad acting in this movie, I feel. But overall, it was a very easy watch. I mean, it just passed by 90 minutes or an hour and 40 with ease. It wasn't hard to understand or anything. It does what it says on the tin, basically. I mean, just it's a hostage situation. This girl's got to defuse it and take them on her own. It's okay. It's okay. Nothing special. Next up is one of my most I'm sorry if I make a bit of noise. I've had a bit of a cold the last few days. It is easing off, so hopefully if you hear me cough or anything like that, you don't go away. Next up is one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and I think me and only other one person on YouTube has reviewed this as last time I looked, and that was Rise of the Foot Soldier Origins. I'm a fan of this franchise. They aren't the best movies or anything, but I really do enjoy them for what they are. I mean, they are aimed towards a certain audience, really. You know, young men like me, basically. But the series has kind of lost its way a little bit. The first one is a brilliant British crime movie. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. It's kind of underrated, but it's getting a cult following here in the UK now. This was definitely the best one since the first. This is actually the 5th entry, but it's actually a prequel and I thought it was the best one since the first. It was really well made compared to the last three. It felt like it had a bit of a better production value going towards it, and it was just great to jump back with these characters, Craig, you know, Pat and Tony, just causing havoc on the streets of Essex there. I recommend it. I mean, you're never going to get a masterpiece out of Rise of the Foot Soldier movie, but they done the best with what they could, with the story they have and the characters they have at their disposal. So I enjoyed it, and it's in my top 20 of the year up to now. So if you're thinking about watching it because you've seen the franchise before or you're a little bit of a fan, definitely give it a go. I thought it was the best one since the first, like I said. Next up is a Marvel film, and that is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I've done a full review for this on the channel, which I'll leave down below, along with Rise of the Foot Soldier Origins. I love this film. It was one of my favourite Marvel movies to date, I think. I have it quite high on my Marvel MCU ranking. I just really loved how good of a martial arts film it was, as well as a superhero movie. There was a lot of great fight scenes, especially one on the bus, and another one that took place on a building site with all this construction around it, you know, like scaffolding. It's used to its full advantage. I'd never seen anything like that before in a film. I thought it was amazing. Really liked the character of Shang-Chi and his friend Katie, I think her name is. She was great, played by Awkwafina. Ben Kingsley's in there, who's just amazing in this movie. Great villain. I mean, it was a top-notch Marvel movie. It really was. I really enjoyed it. One of my favourite films of the year. Definitely give it a go if you're into Marvel. I'm sure you have by now anyway. Now we're getting on to some Blu-rays now. Most of you may know I have had this list of unwatched movies in my collection for the longest time. I have this list now down to 7 movies to go. I made a big dent in this month, as you'll see, with some of these Blu-rays here. Now, these aren't the greatest films going. I mean, a lot of them are just bought cheap or given to me. So don't expect any masterpieces here. But the first one I watched, I picked this up because Johnny Rico was back in it, and that is Starship Troopers 3 Marauder. I'm very, very sorry about that. I'm very sorry. Starship Troopers 3 Marauder. Now, like I said, I picked it up because Casper Van Dien was back in this. I really liked his character from the first one. I don't think he was in the second. I've heard the second is awful. So I just went straight to this one. It just didn't have the same feel as the first movie whatsoever. It went for it, but it failed. There was some good moments, I suppose. The bugs are just really overtaking this little base that they're in, and it's hard to believe how many bugs are actually there, but the characters and stuff just weren't doing it for me. There was this woman who's a religious nut, and she really ground my gears. Oh, I was waiting for her to just get ripped apart by an arachnid. But it's watchable, just not even on the same planet, excuse the pun, as the first movie, I'm afraid. Yeah, but I've had that in my collection for the longest time. I'm talking like 3-4 years now. Next up is quite a beloved film by a lot of people, but I just found it so boring. I really did. That is Rollerball, starring James Caan. Now, there was some good scenes when it actually got to the rollerball type style of thing, where they're having these sports matches and stuff. But all the background stuff, I just really didn't do it for me. I was just so bored. I thought this movie was so dull and slow. Yeah, I mean, it was just done nothing for me. It really didn't. One of the worst movies I watched this month, I'm afraid. Maybe I just didn't get it, I don't know, but it just wasn't for me. A lot of people were surprised last month that I didn't like Serpico, so I'm not going to be surprised if there's people in the comments saying, why didn't you like this? But it just wasn't for me, guys. I'm not going to lie and say I liked it when I didn't. Next up, we have Cowboys and Aliens, starring Daniel Craig, who might be in another movie that I talk about at the end of the video. But this one was okay. It was an interesting premise. I really liked the more Western style compared to all the Alien type steel stuff. Daniel Craig was really good in this like hard-ass, straight-up character. And Harrison Ford was okay, but Daniel Craig was the standout for me. But it did drag a little bit. It did feel like a movie that was way too long. They could have cut easily a half an hour off this, easily. because it just started to feel like a little bit of a slog in the middle and towards the end, but it was okay, it was watchable, I didn't mind it. Not something I'm gonna remember forever or anything like that, but it's a fun enough movie in parts. Next up is a new release, and this is also going to be on my end of my review roundup with the Courier and something else that I'm going to talk about in a minute. And this is Pig, starring Nicolas Cage. Now, I'd heard a lot of great stuff about this movie. Everyone was giving a great reception and stuff. I thought it was okay. I mean, I thought it was a decent movie, actually. I wouldn't go on to say it was like one of the best films of the year or anything. I gave it 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which is good. But I mean, I just it didn't have the impact on me like it's had to some other people. But Nicolas Cage was decent in this. Really mysterious character he was, and as the movie goes on and you find out what he used to do, what his old occupation was, and how he knows these people he's meeting up with and stuff like that. It was interesting. There were some really good scenes in here, especially a dinner table scene later on with him and these other two characters. Alex Wolff was decent in this, who's sort of on screen with him most of the time. It's a strange one. It's a strange one. I liked it. I didn't love it, but it was decent enough. Next up, we do have another new release of the month, and I've done a full review on this one as well, and that is James Wan's Malignant. Now, I really couldn't stop thinking about this after leaving the cinema. My initial thoughts were, that movie is kind of crap, but as soon as I walked out the cinema room and started walking to my car, I started to think, I actually quite loved that one. It was weird, it was a strange feeling. I think the last 5 minutes really made me think initially that I didn't like it, because that is the weakest part of the movie, the last 5 minutes. But the more I thought about it, the more I appreciated it. It was a really, really good, interesting horror. And possibly this and A Quiet Place 2 is the best horror of the year for me. I just thought it was a really clever concept, something different that we needed. And I didn't see this twist coming. I've heard reviews, people saying they've seen it coming and it kind of took them out of it, but I didn't see this coming in a million years. So, really great performance as well from, I forgot the lead girl's name. I'm so sorry. I gave it a lot of praise in my review. What's her name? Yeah, I'm never going to remember that. But I thought she was brilliant in the film. I enjoyed it. I really did. Nice to see James Wan back in the horror game. You know, it's what he does best, isn't it? I mean, he is a great horror director, and this movie shows it. So, there's a scene in the third act as well, in a police station. Amazing. One of the best scenes in any film I've seen this year. So, yeah, Malignant, high praise there. I really enjoyed it. Next up, me and my fiancé are going through the MCU right now. And next up was Spiderman Homecoming. This is definitely one of my favourite MCU films. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and this is where it all, well, it started in Civil War for him really, but this is his first feature-length film, and Michael Keaton is it, what's his name, Vulture? I think it's Vulture. He's great in this. There's a scene with him and Tom Holland where he knows that he's Spider-Man, and he looks at him in the car mirror and goes, I bet you were happy your old friend Spider-Man showed up. He goes, good old Spider-Man. But he's just looking directly in Tom Holland's eyes when he says it. Tom Holland knows that he knows it's him. It's just a really, really clever scene. One of my favourite scenes, I think, in any film ever, to be honest. But I like the suit that he's got in this. It talks to him. It's like a brand new character. Yeah, just a really fun film. It's a great Spider-Man movie, and possibly my favourite Spider-Man film out the lot. So yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming. And by the way, this is my older pick of the month. I give an older pick of the month and a new pick of the month every month. And Spider-Man is my older pick of the month. Looks great on 4K, by the way. Next up we have, I'm just looking at the iPad here, I can't remember all these movies in order, there's just no way. Star Trek Into Darkness. I watched the first Star Trek last month. I thought it was okay. I thought this one was much better, but I didn't love it. I thought it was good though. It was a decent movie. I really don't like this Spock character though. I can't stand him. He takes me out the movie so much. He just annoys the hell out of me. I don't know what it is. He just... I just hate the way he talks, his stupid haircut. I just don't like him. He's just a character I cannot get into, and a lot of people do like him, but I just cannot take to him at all. Chris Pine's good in this though. I think he's a really good lead character for these Star Trek movies. This one was definitely better. Definitely better. There was a lot more better action scenes. Benedict Cumberbatch as the villain. I mean, it's a good, tense last half an hour, really. I thought it was good. Better than the first. I know there's a third one. Maybe I'll pick it up one day, but I don't know yet. That was actually gifted to me a long time ago. Next up is another new release. And this is going to be in my review roundup video, along with Pig and the Courier and something else that I'm going to add. It's probably going to be the Green Knight, which I haven't watched yet. So that video will be coming next month at some point, but this is going to be in it, and this is Cop Shop. Me and my friend Jamie sometimes just go to pictures once a week. On a Wednesday, we went to see the Courier together, and then this one was up next. We knew our girlfriends didn't really fancy it, so I said, should we just go? Something to do. It was okay. I mean, I had a lot of problems with this one, but there was a lot of things I liked. But there's a character who like Gerard Butler and Frank Grillo are just average characters, really. They're okay, but they're just typical Gerard Butler movie. And they're sort of locked in this prison and they're trying to kill each other. But a character comes into this in the third act and damn near saves this movie. He is absolutely amazing, and like he was in the wrong film. I mean, the film was just average till he came in. When he came in, the film just shot up levels. It really did. I'll speak more about it in my review. But Cop Shop, it's okay. It was an average movie, I thought. Next up is another movie that I have had in my collection for a while that I haven't watched, and that is The Bourne Legacy. I'm not the biggest fan of this franchise, I'm not gonna lie. I really like the first one, I really like the second, but I don't love them. I didn't attach to the third whatsoever. I know a lot of people love that movie. This is the worst one though. I mean, there was some good things happening for it. I was surprised to see Ed Norton in here, who usually picks his films very carefully, and he was in this very bang average action movie. Basically, it just involves Jeremy Renner and Rachel Weisz getting chased by Ed Norton's government. That's it for most of the movie. That's all it is. It's a strange one. Jeremy Renner taking over the lead Bourne character and stuff. I mean, he doesn't actually play Jason Bourne, but it feels like a film that just shouldn't have been made, and it was a cash grab because it's got Bourne in the title. It was okay. It was okay. I mean, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was just a little bit below par. Yeah, I'm never gonna watch it again. Put it that way. Now, next up is another franchise I just don't like. I just don't like it. But these three movies were given to me. I watched the first a couple of months ago, so I'm going to talk about parts 2 and 3 here. Underworld Evolution and Underworld Rise of the Lycans. Now, I'll start with this one. This one was the best out of the three. I thought this was better than the first movie because there was a bit more action in it. There is a love interest she is introduced to in this film, and it gives it a little bit of chemistry between the two characters. But it was just so dull and depressing and boring and dark. I mean, I know this probably works, this cinematography, for a lot of people, but for me it just doesn't. The whole gothic, dark, Matrix type feel, I mean, with the action and stuff, it just made me feel like I was watching something I just didn't want to watch. I forced myself through it, but it was better than the first one, so that's a plus. This one was the worst out of the three. This acts as a prequel. Doesn't even have Kate Beckinsale in. It's got this woman off Ali G in the house in it. I think that's her. What's her name? Rona Mitra. Yeah. I was getting lost in this. I was just like not caring. I didn't like this movie whatsoever. I don't like the Underworld franchise. and I'm glad I don't own 4 and 5 because I don't want to watch them. I know a lot of people that do like this, but when I look on Letterboxd, the reviews and stuff, there's a lot of people who don't as well. Just dull, depressing movies. They don't do anything for me, I'm afraid. So yeah, glad to get them two watched and out the way. Next up is a movie I watched on Shudder. I watched the trailer for this a while ago and I thought it looked like a really fun movie, and that is Psycho Gorman. And this is basically about this alien type monster who comes down to Earth and he just wants to take over everything and kill everyone and destroy destroy everything in his grasp and kill everyone. But this young girl has this stone that belongs to him and she can control everything that he does. So if she says go and sit on that chair over there while she's got hold of the stone, he has to do it. But he's always complaining and thinking, oh, I'm gonna kill you when I get hold of this stone. But he has to do it. And it's kind of like, you know, John Connor in Terminator, where he orders the Terminator around in Terminator 2. Kind of like that. Well, it was so funny. She gets him to play like sports games with her and her brother and stuff. But there's a lot of violence in here too. I mean, there's a lot of great kills. It kind of reminded me of the Power Rangers as well at times, when it goes to this alien's planet and see all these characters talking in these weird costumes. It really reminded me of Power Rangers, and that's what my initial thoughts. And when I went and looked at a few reviews, people were even saying it reminded them of Power Rangers. So it's a good horror comedy. I enjoyed it. It has a lot of problems, most notably when it goes to these characters from these other planets. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't have fun with this movie. It's on Shudder. It's worth a watch. It's an easy 90 minutes. But it's really strange at times as well. Next up is Good Boys. Now, I think I watched this on Netflix, and me and my fiance just wanted something easy to watch, 90 minutes long, because we were quite tired. And we thought, I bet you don't even have to think about this one. So we watched it. I'd heard someone on one of my live streams saying his name was actually Good Boys is a Masterpiece. So, my friend, I've watched it. If you're watching this video, I finally watched it. Yeah, I thought it was a decent little movie. I laughed quite a bit. There was some funny moments. I mean, it's nothing special. Some of the comedy doesn't land. But this is about these young kids who are like 10, trying to grow up a little bit, and there's a little story there involving a drone that he's got to get back for his dad because he broke his other one before he gets home from work. But the best way to describe this movie is South Park as live action. That's exactly the feeling I got. The kids don't quite know what these sexual terms mean and these swear words. They're just learning as they go along. It really reminded me of South Park. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Thought it was a decent watch. So yeah, if you just want a nice easy comedy, definitely give this one a go. Because I mean, it's just fun. It tries to have fun. And the three main kids were great, I thought. So yeah, The Good Boys, decent movie. Next up is another film from my collection, Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. I thought I was going to hate this, but it's actually one of the best video game adaptation movies I've seen. I didn't love it or anything like that, but it was decent enough. Jake Gyllenhaal put a really good performance in here. I thought, I mean, I like to see him in everything. Strange role for him, but decent enough. But someone the other day on my Twitter said Disney are the king of big budget movies that get forgotten about in a year. I think he's correct. I mean, there's a lot of great Disney movies, isn't it? But there are ones like this, and I do feel like Jungle Cruise might become one of them movies as well, that people just don't talk about anymore. They're just there, and they're sitting on Disney Plus. And I think a lot of money went into this, so I can see exactly what he's talking about. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was decent enough. I don't know anything about the game. I've never played it. But it sounds like it would have been a really cool game, actually, because you can rewind time in this from a few seconds, and no one knows that he's rewound time to fix a situation that he might have messed up in. But yeah, decent movie. I didn't mind it. Next up is Robin Hood, another movie I didn't fancy. I've heard so many bad things about this. I think this is a prequel to how he become Robin Hood. I'm not big on the story or anything. I don't quite know that for sure. It's just kind of dull, kind of depressing and grey, but it was okay. I enjoyed it enough. I mean, I did click the director's cut as well, which added another 15 minutes, so this was like 2 hours 35 minutes long. Did feel like a slog at times, but there were some characters that I did actually care about, especially Russell Crowe and his wife. I thought Kate Blanchett, thought they were really good together on screen. I did care what happened to them. Some other characters in the movie were really good. Some nice, well-written characters. Ridley Scott's done okay with this, but it's not one I'm ever gonna go back to or anything. It was just kind of not. You got to be in the mood for it, put it that way. But it was okay. Next up is Crawl, a movie I've wanted to watch for a very long time. I think I watched this on Netflix as well. I love monster movies and stuff, but this one, it didn't quite hit the heights that I thought it was going to. Like, I didn't expect a masterpiece or anything. I just expected a good alligator movie. But nearly the whole film just takes place in this basement, and I just thought they didn't branch out enough. There was some good kills in it. I mean, there is one moment where it cuts to a garage over the road or a petrol station, and these crocodiles start attacking these looters. That was a good moment in the movie, but it just didn't. I thought the father was a really bad actor as well. I mean, I think he's been in The Green Mile and he was great in that, but in this he was bad. The CGI on the alligators looked great though. I will give them that. I thought they looked really well done. I just expected a little bit more from Crawl. I would watch it again though. I would give it another go, but it just didn't quite hit the heights that I thought of what I would probably enjoy, because this is my type of movie, but it just didn't quite get there for me. Next up is Aragon. I had no idea so many people hate this movie because they love the book so much, and it just doesn't do the book justice. I've never read the book. This started off really well and dipped massively in the third act. This guy who's playing Aragon was just a really wooden character, brought nothing to the role whatsoever, and I haven't seen him in anything since. I can see why. It is strange that they went for this guy for a big budget movie like this. John Malkovich, he must have filmed his scenes in like, what, 10 minutes, man, because he is such a good villain in this, but he's in it for like 2 minutes. Screen time, full. That's it. You don't see him again. I mean, you see him, but it's like 30 seconds each time for a full, what, 2 minutes overall. They just don't use him at all. I don't know if they could. I wanted to see more of him anyway. Jeremy Irons was really good in this though. You always get a good performance out of him. But it just, again, it's another movie that I'm not really going to remember or watch again. It was okay. I like the dragon aspect of it, but if you want to see something like this, watch Game of Thrones, because it's a million times better. Next up is a film that I really thought I weren't going to like, and that is Eagle Eye, but I really got a kick out of this. This action in this does not stop. For a good 2 acts of this movie, it's just constant, but it works so well. I mean, Shia LaBeouf and Michelle Monaghan have got to do everything this voice tells them to do. It's on his phone and stuff because it controls all this technology, and if they don't do it, they'll die basically. But I really liked it. I did, but in the third act it does start to fail a little bit when it starts to explain things, what's going on. Just thought it was a bit underwhelming. I thought if it had that third act, it would have been a better film overall. But I like Shia LaBeouf, especially in this day when he was doing Transformers and stuff. I liked him. Hopefully he gets back on track properly soon. But I thought this was a decent movie. I enjoyed it. Next up is The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. Watched the first one a couple of months ago. This one, I would like to say it's better, but it's not. I think the first one's slightly better. It's a poor man's Lord of the Rings, it really is. Yeah, no interesting characters. Cinematography isn't great. It just looks all like it's a big stage play. Yeah, it was a long one as well. It's like 2.5 hours. Didn't do much for me. I mean, I don't think I'm going to watch the third one. Yeah, I've sort of given up on this now. Prince Caspian as a character, done nothing for me. But last up, we're going to end on a positive note, because this is my new release of the month, and that is No Time to Die. Yes, the new James Bond 007 movie. Absolutely loved it. This is in my top 3 movies of the year. I was looking forward to this, going by the trailers and stuff. I'm not a massive Bond fan, I do like them. I'm not like a fanatic or anything. But this was my favourite Daniel Craig Bond movie. I absolutely loved it. Very, very strong ending. Great characters. Great action scenes. Really well shot. Just a brilliant movie. It really is. I was watching it in the cinema going, this is why I love film. I just had such a good time with it. And if you want to check my full review of No Time to Die, that'll be down below. But if you're thinking about going to see this, or you just like it a little bit, the Bond franchise, just a little bit, go and see it. Don't even hesitate. Go and see this movie. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes long. It felt like an hour and a half. It flew by. It is so entertaining. It's great. Oh, and the last quote of the movie, goosebumps. So yeah, that is it, everyone. That is my what I've watched this month. Not the greatest month in terms of, you know, the older movies and Blu-rays what I've watched, but a lot of them films were on the cheap or just given to me, and I'm down to 7 now. So hopefully I'll have a few more better watches next month. I've already watched something amazing last night. So yeah, look out for that. If you want to subscribe, it's up to yourself. It would help the channel out. And if you want to comment about any of these movies, leave it down below and I'll reply to you all, I promise. Take it all easy, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.